Well, when we open up the book, let's open up the book. Okay, and what's the title of this book?
Ahoy there, little polar bear.
Okay, ahoy there, little polar bear. And so this, what do you think this story is going to be about?
A polar bear.
A polar bear, yes. Okay, let's turn to the first page.
Well, it's a headline.
Okay, let's look at we open up the book. How do we open it up and look at the first page? Okay, now, let's look at it. Now, in the story, and so we say this is going to be a fiction story, right? Do you know how we identify nonfiction? Things that are true? What's the difference between a fiction and a nonfiction?
Because if it was non-fiction, then it would be like real, like there used to be twins and teens back then in the old times.
Okay, but are there really polar bears?
Yes.
Oh yeah, there really are polar bears. Does this look like something that's true or not true? Could it be realistic?
Maybe both.
Maybe both, right? So you know how we tell the difference? Well, first of all, what does a fiction story have in it? It has what? What do stories like this have in it? Fiction?
Like they have tadpoles that actually don't go into floods, that go into huge things.
Okay, but let's talk about, has Ms. Perez talked to you about the plot of a story? Probably not yet. When you read your books, they usually have characters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do they have characters in them?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a problem in the story? No, your stories never have a problem?
Sometimes.
Okay. Do they have a setting where it takes place? Where the story takes place?
Yes.
Yes, all stories have characters, a setting, like where it takes place, the time, the place, right? Do your books that you read have that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they do, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
And then they have a problem. You know what are those books that you read? What's the name of those books that you read?
Magic Treehouse.
Magic Treehouse.
And sometimes Genevieve.
Okay, do they have a problem in the story?
And John Stilton's.
Okay, but do they have problems when you read them? And the problems get solved?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. So we know that at the beginning of the story, the author of the book gives us the characters, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the setting where it takes place?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay, well, let's look at this. And what do you think is going to happen? What is going on here?
That the polar bear is jumping off a sliding ice edge.
What do we call these?
Ice.
Iceberg?
Iceberg.
Yeah.
And he's sliding through it, and he'll splash in the water.
Yeah.
Let the water slide.
Sure. Well, you know what I want you to do? I want you to read for me.
Lois, the little polar bear, lived with his mother and father near the North Pole, where everything was white for as far as the eye could see. Although he spent much of his time alone, he was happy.
Okay, let's stop there. What's the character's name? Lars. And what is he?
A polar bear.
And where does he live?
In the North Pole.
At the North Pole. So we have the character. Is it just Lars? But who else is in there?
His mother.
His mother and father. So we've introduced to how many characters? 3. And the place is?
North Pole.
Does it kind of describe what it's like there? Well, tell me, what is it?
It's very cold and white there.
Yes.
And they have big ice.
Yeah, we see that from the pictures, but the words tell us it's what? It's white. And what is that white?
The snow.
And the
ice.
And the ice. Okay. Let's see what it says. Okay.
But one day when Lars ran quite far from his den, something terrible happened. Lars thought his foot was pulled down deep into the sea, then yanked up in a giant net.
Wait, is there a problem?
Yes.
What is the problem?
He got stuck in the net.
Uh-oh. Is that a conflict and a problem?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Well, let me ask you this. Okay. Where do bears live?
Under North Pole.
Well, these live in the North Pole, but do you know where what they call the home of a bear? It's a den. Does that say that does it say it?
Yes.
It says den, doesn't it? So now we know. Who are the characters again?
Lars and his mother and father.
That's how we know. And where do they live?
In the North Pole in a den.
In a den. And what's the conflict? What's the problem?
That he got stuck in the net.
Yes. Let's read the next page.
Lars was dropped to the ground with such a bang he fainted. When he woke up, he couldn't tell where he was. Above him was a ladder, so he could climb up the slippery wall.
Wait a second. Wait. Now tell me, what happened to Lars there? Was there another problem?
Yes.
What did he do?
He got dropped down and he fainted.
He fainted. Yes, he did. Is that a problem?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but did he wake up?
Yes.
Yes, he did. Well, let's see what happens next.
Lars roamed the long hallways. It seemed he was all alone until something was stood behind him. As he turned around, two large eyes stared at him. Lars ran for his life. Just when he thought he was safer than he heard a voice. "Don't be afraid, it's only me, Nomo." The ship's cat. "Welcome aboard." Lars looked up. Above him was a friendly-looking creature with orange fur. Lars could see that Nomo was an animal he could trust.
Okay, now do we have a new character?
Yes.
Who is the new character?
Normal.
Nemo. Nemo. And what is Nemo?
A cat.
Oh, wait, okay. Now, how was Lars feeling when he went down and was walking in the hallways? How did
Scared.
Scared and what?
Frightened.
Well, but, okay, who said don't be afraid?
The cat.
The cat. But he also had this other feeling. Let's go back.
Happy.
No, what was that other one? When he first dropped down there and it said he was what? In the very first, wait, we're not changing pages. We're still on the same page. What page are you on? We need to go to that page. Okay. What does it say? He seemed that, look at the very, right here. What does it say?
Alone.
Alone. He felt alone, didn't he?
Uh-huh.
And that makes you kind of afraid, doesn't it?
Uh-huh.
So now he has a new what?
Friend.
What do you think's going to happen?
Like they're gonna play and stuff. And
Okay.
rats
Okay,
together.
they're going to pay. Well, okay, let's see what happens.
"I'm Lars," said the little polar bear. "I'm trying to get home as soon as I can. I'm afraid that it isn't possible, at least not right away," Nemo said. "Your home is a long way from where we are now." "Where are we?" asked Lars. "We're on a ship on our way back to port. Once we're there, I'll take you to see some friends who may be able to help. But until then, there isn't anything we can do. Why don't we get something to eat?" At Pat, "You're very hungry." When he had eaten, Lars felt much more cheerful. He curled up beside Nemo and fell fast asleep.
Okay, let's talk about this. Okay, there's do you see something really big problem here?
Yes.
What is it?
That they're far away from his home.
And what did Nemo tell Lars?
That until we get to his home, I'll ask some friends to help you.
Okay, so is there some hope here?
Yes.
Yes, but how do you think that Lars is feeling right now?
Sad.
Ooh, so the big problem is what?
That Lars is very sad and he wants to go home.
Yes, he's going to be far away from home, isn't it? So that's a big problem in this story, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, goodness. All right, let's read on.
When they awoke, Nemo took Lars up to the deck. Look, he said, pointing to the horizon, which was a low with lights. That's the point. We'll be there soon. Lars was so excited he could hardly wait to go ashore. When the ship had come into port, Lars eagerly followed Nemo onto the deck and over the plank. Tray to let interest.
Inconspicuous. That's a big word.
Inconspicuous.
You know what that means?
Nemo.
Well, wait, let's don't turn because we're not ready to turn yet. Inconspicuous means don't let anybody know that you're going to try to make yourself so that not a lot of people see you. Now let's look at this skyline right here. You see that? How is that different from where Lars lives? How is it different?
Because there it's very dark sometimes.
Well, think about it. Where does Lars come from?
The North Pole.
Okay, and how is this city skyline different from the North Pole?
Because they don't have buildings, and it's sometimes almost every month it's not very cold there.
Where is it not cold?
Where the cat lives near.
Where the cat lives. It doesn't. Do you see anything? You see any icebergs there?
No.
No. Do you think it's as cold there as it is at the North Pole? So this is quite different. Now the setting changes, doesn't it? Does the setting change?
Yes.
In a story, can the setting change from one place to another?
Yep.
Yes. In the beginning of the story, is it day or night? In the beginning of the story, does it look like it's day or night?
Day.
Okay, and what does it look like in the setting right here?
Night.
Night, so it changes and it looks like night, doesn't it? Okay, let's see what happens on the next.
What Lars found on the other side of the blank surprised and disappointed him. Everything was so untidy and dirty. I'm afraid this isn't a very clean place, sighed Nemo. We'd best hurry. Follow me around the back way. The streets are much too dangerous. As Lars and Nemo made their way through all alleys and back streets, Lars' white coat became dirtier and dirtier. He wished more than ever that he was home again, where everything was clean and white.
Okay, what's the difference between this setting, where they are now, in Nemo's home, and how is it different than Lars' home?
It's dirtier and more dangerous.
It's dirtier and dangerous. Does this look like? It says what did it say at the end about Lars? What does Lars wish?
That more than ever that he was home again, where everything was clean and white.
But it doesn't look clean and white in this setting, does it? No. Okay, we're going to read one more page and then we're going to stop. So, continue on.
Following Nemo over fences and along the walls took all Lars' efforts. At last, Nemo stopped. We have arrived, he announced. Wait here a moment. It was very dark. Many eyes were staring at Lars. He grew quite nervous. But the eyes belonged to some more cats who turned out to be just as friendly as Nemo. The cats looked wave at Nemo, explained Lars' problem. They thought it's over for